All right. Okay. So guys, thank you so much for your feedback. I'm going to zoom out to about 10,000 feet up real quick, right? About like, what's the highest level intentionality that I can think of, right? I don't know about you guys, but throughout my life, whether like an extra piece of money in my bank account or, what deal I got into, those things usually gave me really short-term wins. I felt good in a moment, but then I was kind of just back to always being myself. So maybe start asking the questions of like, what is actually really important to me? At the end of the day, like, what is it that I'm really seeking with all of this work that I'm doing, the communities I'm joining, the deals I'm doing, the businesses I'm building, all of that stuff. And what for me, and what I think may be true for all of us, is what we're really wanting to get to is a couple of key pieces in our lives that I think we all would love to be able to feel like that we're at peace internally, that we feel safe, and that we're connected to other people. And that just as a people, that might be one of the things, one of the states of being that we're all trying to seek. So if that's where we're going to say, hey, I want that kind of life experience into it, what are some of the essential things that we know of as real estate investors that helps us get there? Well, the first thing that comes to my mind is that it has to be financial freedom and financial security. I have to know that no matter what happens in the world, that my life, I'm going to be okay. I'm going to be provided for. I think that's probably one of the reasons why we all love real estate so much, is because it's a strong asset. It doesn't have big ups and downs. It provides us really consistent cash flow, and life goes smoothly in a positive direction as we move, which helps facilitate us being able to have that internal peace. The money that comes from real estate, being from passive income, is almost like an oxygen mask. And I believe in my life that the times when I've been at my best is when I've really focused on how to put my own oxygen mask on first and make sure I'm okay, and then go help everybody else get theirs on. Plane's going down, but I got to have my oxygen mask on first before I go to everybody else. Because guess what? If I don't do that, am I really in the right position to be there for everybody else in my life? So a lot of people will be like, money, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, nah, money is just about safety. It's about security. It's about knowing that I'm going to be okay, because when I'm okay, I can really give the most to the other people that are in my life, or give the most to myself, and have that time, that space, and that energy to be able to give to myself in the ways that I would need to. The other thing that seems to be essential, besides making sure that my financial security is where I want it to be, is and it's another layer of safety, and it's about community. That my community actually brings me safety. I mean, all the time since we were actually like in tribes, like going around, right? We've all understood that it's our tribe that keeps us safe. It's the people that are around us that make me stronger than I'm ever going to be individually. And that the stronger and the deeper connections that I have in the community not only make me safer, make me smarter, and help me make better decisions about what I'm going to do. It also has a parlay to be is, what is the number one thing that influences our happiness as people, just as we are as individuals? And life comes to be at the root of it is, how connected are we to other people? So the more that we can engage in opportunities where we can have genuine, authentic connections with other people, the happier we are as people. It also happens to be the thing that helps us be able to accelerate our growth through our finances and any other area of life that we're trying to build. So then the major question comes, how the heck do I do that? And this is the $1 million question I think we have as human beings. How the heck do I do that? If I believe those things are true, and that's what I really want. I really want to feel at peace inside. I want to feel present. I want to feel loving towards myself, loving towards other. I want to feel connected with other people as part of a community. I want to be building great things for my life, like my financial freedom, building my family, building the type of adventures that I want for my life. How the heck do I actually do that? Well, the good news is life is really long, and there's a lot of things, a lot of ways to get there, right? But I think it's really important for us to know at the outset is, what are we ultimately really going after? So we can know, what do the components of our life give us that allow us to be able to move in pursuit with the intention of wanting that for ourselves. So if we can be really clear about what we're going for, that can tell us about whatever we decide to do. Is that moving us closer to that internal state of being, that financial freedom in the community that we're wanting to be, with the genuine connections that we're wanting to be a part of our lives, or are we moving farther away? Your best information for that will always be inside of us. It will be inside of you. You'll know if you're clear about the outcome that you're going for, your internal feedback mechanism, how you feel and your emotion about that voice in your head will tell you, hey, am I moving closer in the right direction to what it is I want for my life, or am I moving further away? What I would like to posit for us of something to build here together is working on a way in which that our community here is a piece, or maybe even a foundation, maybe even a model for the way in which we can pursue those higher objectives. One of those higher objectives, of course, being the financial freedom and high net worth that we're seeking. So it's the way in which the community that we have here could be considered either like a foundation or a model of the way in which we will pursue those higher objectives that we're seeking to build in life. Of course, one of those being the financial freedom. So I'd like to share with you all a little bit first about some of the thoughts that I've had about how this community would be able to help accelerate financial freedom as well as net worth in conjunction with all of the other things that we do in Royal Legal Solutions, and have a brief discussion about that. And then dive into more details about like how could the structure of this community be structured appropriately, or to brainstorm some of the ideas that we've had so far to be able to get some feedback. Okay. So first, I'd like to just share with you guys about what's the 10,000 foot up view of how this community integrates with the other things that we're providing for you guys inside of Royal Legal Solutions, and how those things might all be able to work together for the best and fastest acceleration and support for everybody's financial freedom, and ultimately to be able to have the space in their lives to be able to create all the other things that we've been talking about here. I'm gonna turn on my document camera real quick. I'll start to sketch it out. So the way I understand what's happening now in our lives together is a little like this. The first thing that we have here is we say, great, what we really know about us is that we really need, can everybody see this okay? Yeah, can I get a thumbs up from everybody? Get it? Cool. Got it?
Yeah,
all right,
a
sweet.
little blurry.
Kind of blurry.
Okay, let me see if I can bring this up for us real quick. How about that? Any better?
Better.
Excellent. So the first thing that we looked at is saying, hey, what we need, like community, part of this community, what we need is we need to get educated about what it is that I don't know, right? We heard about that a little bit before. It's like, what are the blind spots that I have, right? How do I do it? The second thing we would think that could be important that I've heard from you guys that's important about community is about the idea of the question is like execution. Where's the rubber meet the road, right? This is like the pieces that we've talked about is like, hey, is this, how do I deal vet, right? But also like, how do I like set goals and accountability? Because we know, right, that if I'm just getting educated, but I'm not doing anything, I'm not executing anything, then I'm playing a little game that's just about the fun of being educated. This is just being a nerd. This is getting rich. Those are the two differences when you can combine the two that come with that, getting the rich and getting the financial freedom that you're looking for. The last thing that I think that community we talked about here was about like, what's our connection? We talked a little bit before is like connection is important to us for two reasons. Connection is how we feel safe, how we get into deals and feel safe. because we know the people that get in the deals. That's intuitive, I think, to all of us, right? Who do you invest with? You invest with the people you know, right? The other thing that's important about this connection here too is that it's just overall like happiness or energy. It's the intangible thing that you have called, I have more energy now to be able to get into more deals and to do more than I've been able to do before. I don't really know what that is or how that mechanism really works, but I've known there's days where I can't get anything done because I'm like, I just don't have the energy. And it's not because like, hey, well, I couldn't go run a mile right now. I got energy for that, but I just don't have the energy to do the things anymore. And what we've seen is like, if you have connection and you have some of these other things operating in your life, using some of these other tools that we've talked about in Royal Life, et cetera, they says that will give you the energy. So from here, you would know what to do, you'd know how to do it, and you would have the safety in knowing that it's the right thing to do. And you'd also be able to have greater energy to be able to push into it. Now with this community too, right? We also talked a little bit this morning too. We also talked about like how important is it that we have deals, either new deals for us to be able to invest in that we can communally vet together, or simply just being able to review deals to get better educated and learn how people are actually executing on the deals that they're getting into. With the community, what that should allow us to do is to be able to get into more deals and to do more. If we're getting more deals, we're getting better at being able to analyze deals, and we should be more efficient at being able to analyze deals. So we should be able to review more deals and get into more deals. Simultaneously, if we're using proper goal setting tools and accountability tools, like we talked about here, this should allow us to do more. And even more importantly than even doing more is actually knowing what is reasonable for me to expect of myself that I can actually do each week. I was working with one of the community members one-on-one, and when we came into the first meeting together, they did something that I think is really typical for almost all of us. What they did is they said, I said, okay, great. What are you going to be doing between this week and next week? Right? What are you going to get done? And it was a list of like 25 things, and a lot of them are really hard. And I was like, holy smokes, is that really going to be a challenge? I don't think I can do that. But if you can do it, go for it. So what happened after the first week is they came back and said, hey, I got 3 out of the 25 done. I said, well, great. Well, how does that actually impact you when you set goals that are unattainable? Right? Or goals that are so poorly defined that you don't even know if they're actually done or not. And those prices pay an internal price for us. It's where we prove to ourselves that we're not actually able to do the things that we set out to do. And what does that do? It lowers our confidence in ourselves, and it makes us not feel great about ourselves because we're telling ourselves that we're going to do X when it's Y. So setting the appropriate goals and accountability, what I did with her was we moved down the list of the 25 to what were just the top 3 things that had to get done this week. That if we got them done this week, we would have said this week was successful. And that those goals had to be SMART goals. They had to be specific, measurable, and actionable. That we know definitively whether they were done or not. And my experience with her on that was all of a sudden over the course of the next 4 weeks, it was a J-turn in many areas of her lives. The projects that she thought that were dragging her down for months, never getting completed, all of a sudden were getting completed. Instead of coming into meetings with just a dour face of just like, oh, I got so much work I got to do, blah, blah, blah. It was smiles and happiness. She was removing the pain of her life from getting the most important things done and being able to receive the benefits of showing herself that she cared enough about what was going on with her to get those things done, that she started to feel much better about herself. Her confidence started to raise up to a whole nother level with it. And wouldn't you know it, that she actually got the critical things off of her plate, that now she was actually getting into starting to review deals again, where before she had been paralyzed. So it was costing her money to not be in deal-making mode because she was so bogged down with the other things and so overwhelmed by what it was and so unfocused. So when we talk about like the tools about being able to do more, these execution tools, from my experience with the community members, are absolutely critical to being able to say, are we really focused on the right things? And are we accountable for getting those things done? And do we know from the outset when I set that goal that I'm in control of being able to make sure that that goal is either done or not done? That's just an example I wanted to give you guys about how some of the tools actually impact the interpersonal part of us, but they also impact the financial parts of us, and how simple it really is to be able to flip that switch, and how quickly the changes come, both inside of the individual as well as into what they're doing in terms of actually executing on it, but also how that relates to the key and most important things, which is, am I reviewing deals and getting into deals and making great investments? Because that's the number one thing. We got to get the oxygen mask on ourselves. We got to get to 100% of our passive income equaling our expenses to be financially free. So now that if we have this right community and we're learning all of this and we're doing deals and we're actually getting more done of what's critically done, then I think this is what I've already built in Royal Legal Solutions to be able to cover off on the rest as we're continually trying to improve this process. But the idea here would be that after we can learn what to do, how to do it, and be connected to a community to do it, let's actually then go out and do more of it, of the deal making and getting more stuff done. This is actually how we change our lives and be able to change our finances. And then let's leverage into a system that allows for this RLS wealth building system, which all of you guys know so much about, where we have everything in-house, or we have the professional team for the asset protection, the tax, the estate planning, and the insurance. Because this stuff back here is like all of the back office stuff, right? All of our money that we have here is all made at this stage. Is how can I actually do more deals and get into more deals? And that the better I can learn, how can I get educated, the better I can learn how to execute, the more connected I am with other people to make sure the investments I'm making are great investments, the happier I'm going to be as a person, because I'm getting more of the important things done, the wealthier I'm going to come because I have more deals, and that we have a back office team with Royal Legal Solutions to be able to handle all of the other important matters. Now, this part isn't required. Nobody here is required to work with us at all, ever, into it. It's only offered for you to be able to consider and to be able to leverage and to getting the more of the education to the Discord channel, the group coaching, et cetera. And we're happy to provide all those resources to everybody for free, regardless of whether we ever take $1 from you, because that's what we're about as part of our value system, is what we're looking for as what's the number of people we can help get to financial freedom. So if you guys want to know, like, what are we all about? How do we measure our success in Royal Legal Solutions? It's this critical number. What's the number of people we're helping get to financial freedom? And how long does it take, right? How long is it taking to do that? Can we get this time period to go down? Can we get the number of people we can help, and can we get them there faster? If we can build a community that gives them the tools and the education they need so they can get into more deals and get more done, and have somebody that they can outsource all of the back office stuff to, so they can have the time and energy to be able to get into more deals. And we believe as a company, if we're able to do that, we should be able to help get more people to financial freedom, and they should be able to do it faster. Okay, cool. So that is the 10,000 foot up vision piece of where it is that I'm trying to lead this company to. As how can I get help people more get financially free to get the oxygen mask on? Once they have the oxygen mask on, they're going to do great things in the world for their families, communities, etc. And can I help you get there faster? Can we create the right community and the right support systems that take it from a 10-year, 15-year timeline to financial freedom? Can we get that down to 5? What would that have to look like? What kind of goals would we have to set or help you set to be able to get there and helping get to that kind of clarity? So I'm wondering at this point if anybody has any questions, comments, concerns. Maybe you're saying, holy smokes, this doesn't make sense at all, or what the heck are you really doing, Scott? I thought this was a law firm. What are we doing here? Chris, I was wondering if you'd share with us if you would share with me just a little bit about your thoughts of what I've shared so far.
I love being put on the spot. No, I love the community that we built here, and I think it's very easy to fall into this, absorbing of education, but really not following through. And I think a lot of what you're presenting is an ability to just get a bit more granular and to make sure that we do follow through on a lot of these goals. Where I'm struggling a little bit is that, well, no, it's not a struggle. It's just that I have to interpret it a little bit differently. I don't think the end goal for me is financial freedom, because I'm already there. So for me, it's like, how do I fine tune that? How do I, take what I'm hearing and either in the same regard as you is help others achieve it as well, because I get a lot of personal satisfaction from that. But I keep on hearing from you that that's the end goal, and I think that's wonderful. But I think for me, it's more about that isn't the end goal. It's going to be consistently for the rest of my life, this constant need for knowledge, this constant being a student, and listening to others and how they interpret things, and being able to share my experience. And I like hearing from people ways that they do things that are different from mine. I have a little bit of a different perspective on financial freedom than what's popular right now. I think there's too much emphasis put on replacing income, and all that does, in my mind, is keep people on the mindset that they need to have a constant flow of the same amount of money every month. And I think that works for a lot of people, because most people really need that bi-weekly paycheck kind of mentality. And I find that too often, if you focus so much on that, that you end up sacrificing growth for income. And it also sacrifices tax savings very often for income. So I have to balance that thought of what is important in terms of creating that financial freedom for myself and to teach to others, but look at the different strategies and ways to do that.
Awesome, Chris. So I just want to reflect back to you some of the things that I heard real quick. I just took some quick notes here. What I heard from you, Chris, was that there's actually a different set of values about what's important to you about being part of a community, what's important to you about being here. What I heard from you is hey, I really love about helping other people get there. Helping other people get there makes me feel really good, because then I can share my personal experience with them about what is that road really like. There's the theory that I learned in the education, but what is it when the rubber actually meets the road, right? And maybe hearing from other people about their personal experiences of how they're doing it differently. So that way I can maybe get to fine tune some of my thinking, challenge some of my thinking into it, because if they're being successful in a different way, maybe I should look at the way that they're doing it. And I might not be able to do that besides being connected to a community. It might be essential to be connected to a community to be able to get that kind of feedback. But I also heard something else in here too that I wanted to make sure to key off on, which was this. And you didn't say this, but I think you hinted at it. But it's about building the other important things in my life. I have my oxygen mask on, right? I'm already financially free. So is this a place in the community that is also going to be able to focus and value on what are the things I might want to execute on or be exposed to or otherwise that are going to help me build the other areas of my life so I have a more complete life, whether that's with your family, I know the amazing hiking and adventures that you like to do, the other areas of your life that might say, hey, well, maybe some of those are my focus in conjunction with the financial pieces, but maybe some of those other areas are also really important to me as well into it. And if it's just about money, maybe that's kind of cool, but are these other areas of my life important to me? But being in this community, if I can go and help other people, if I can share my personal experience, and if I can learn from other people's experiences of what they're doing, man, I think that's great value.
I think that's fair. And also mention too, it's very helpful when you constantly verbalize what you're doing. The whole repetition builds retention. It's very helpful for me too to fine tune what I'm doing by constantly talking about it as well. So there's other selfish gains from that too.
Yeah, let's call those self-fulfilling gains, into it. I think selfish, the reality is like when we talk about ourselves and what it is that we're doing, and I'm not trying to do that to be like nitpicky on like word choice, but I just wanted to tweak it for everybody else in here too, because I think a lot of times what we'll think about is that like, well, if this benefits me, then it's only for me, right? Into it. Whereas a self-fulfilling piece can say like, hey, this is when I'm going to make a true choice, a true positive choice that's for the best and highest good, it will be for everybody's benefit. Me sharing my story from the right place is not from a place of ego to be able to say, here's how amazing I am, right? That's selfish. That's only for my benefit, right?
I think I think there's a part of that too, if I'm being 100% honest, is that it feeds your ego when you get a lot of that. When people are receptive, they hear it, they employ it. And I'm fine in my own confidence to admit that too. I think as human beings, we like being heard and helpful. And when I say selfish, sure, you're absolutely right. I mean, is it really selfish if you're helping others in the process? No, but I like to emphasize that because too often, if you're helping others and you don't mention what you're benefiting from it, there's always in the back of the mind, like, why are they why are they using their valuable time to talk to me about this? Is there some agenda here? Is he just trying to build the friendship up because they've got something to sell to me at the end?
Just 1 second on there too, because what I'm tagging here for you, I'm writing down my paper, is that there's another core value identifying, which is, hey, are we being transparent and honest about like what we're all getting out of this with it? And maybe transparency and honesty is a core value for us, apart from some of the other intentions you laid out.
I can say with 100% certainty that the biggest factor of my success in life is because of honesty, transparency, and being there when people need to depend on me. 100%.
Awesome. I think those are great values.
As human beings, we need to capture our environment and make things as predictable as possible. You want to know when you go around the corner, there isn't going to be a tiger that jumps out at you. And you want a partner that's going to help you do it.
That's right. And especially you got 4 or 5 of your homies, with some spears, that makes it all a lot easier to fight off whatever kind of demons are coming down the pipe. And I think we might have some demons coming down the pipe for all of us here in the near future. And maybe it'd be really important.
Down markets in and up. So
that's right. So we'll be able to see like, hey, maybe these things are really important because, wow, we're coming to threats. Where do we feel safe? We might feel the safest if we have a community of people that we know like, hey, these people are going to be transparent and honest with each other and being able to be forthright with here's all the best thinking that we have about what to do in these situations of how can we make the dire situation be something that's going to be positive for us, right? How can we shift our thinking from thinking about the problem to thinking about projects? What's the project I need to do to be able to do with that? So thank you so much, Chris, for that. Connie's been so patiently waiting. Connie, you are so patient and so kind. Thank you for hanging on for a second.
Yes, well, I think Chris said a lot about what I was thinking as well. And I think what people want to understand is how can I build a better life in community, in a safe community, while on what I call that upward spiral, where I'm always learning and growing and, have the ability, the mindset to always be learning, have that learner mindset, how to see problems as either firstly projects, and secondly, opportunities. Because I can tell you some of the biggest so-called problems in my life turned out to be huge, enormous opportunities. Right. And having the ability to learn from other people's viewpoint, their experience, their mistakes, their outlook is extremely valuable because I want to get out of my rut, my same old way thinking. Even though I'm always looking for learning opportunities, I have, as Luis mentioned so succinctly, I have blind spots that I don't even know exist. In fact, my husband and I take a practice of regularly asking each other, what are we missing? What are we missing in ourselves, in our environment, in the economy? What's changed that we might not have noticed, right? So this ability to ask ourselves, what are we missing, has been something that has led to some of our most important decisions in life, like deciding to leave Singapore after living there for 10 years and coming back to the US. I'm so glad we noticed what was going on and we decided to make a change. So that's what I wanted to share. Thank you.
Thank you, Connie. Yeah, I love that those kinds of intentions, right? Those kinds of intentions and thought processes, if we can keep those top of mind for us as we look to build the community, to refine it to be what it is we want to be, I think will guide us in the right direction of knowing, hey, are we on course or off course for what it is that we really want to go? Guys, I know that we're at time here for today. What I'd like to do is to be able to come back with you guys. I'll be gone. I won't be here for the session on the 19th, but I will be back on the 26th. On the 26th, what I'd like your permission to do is to be able to start to distill down a document and a plan for like, what could this look like? What could community values look like? What could some of our ground, I don't want to call them ground rules, but what should be some of like, maybe even like the traditions that we know are going to be important for us, for how are we going to operate together as a community with these core values, like Chris was talking about, with transparency, honesty, being forthright, looking to help other people, looking to be able to be a continual student, exercising, but it's something I call maybe even like servant leadership, that I'm a leader, but I realize that I'm a leader in service to the other people, not as a leader to be at the top and look down on everybody else, right? Like that kind of concept of what servant leadership can look like for us. And I'd like to take a stab also about being able to put together for you guys at what could it look like for saying like, hey, this is what's really important for us in terms of how do we move through to the proper mindset, the success mindset, the winning mindset, the wealth building mindset. Maybe we can distill that together here from the people that have had some success, and be able, even the people that might have not had outward success, but have really accomplished having a really strong mindset, and how have they moved through to get that strong mindset. And then lastly, what I'd like to be able to put together for you guys is an example of what might a meeting structure look like, and what might be some of the things in that meeting that we would do to be able to make sure that we're accomplishing the goals that we want for this time here together, about getting the proper education that we need, looking at our blind spots, et cetera. How can we learn how to execute better to make sure that we're taking this knowledge and being able to push it into action? How can we get better connected to each other holistically as a community, as potentially also in smaller pods? And then how can we incorporate some of the deal analysis and the deal making, getting more deal flow across our plates by leveraging some of my connections and maybe other connections of the community members to be able to help us always be analyzing deals. Because I cannot emphasize for you enough that at the end of the day, after all things are said and done, if you want to know how rich and how fast you're going to be able to make money, it all comes down to how many deals you can look at and review that are quality. And the more you look at, the more money you're going to make. And give me a thumbs up if you agree with that. You guys have been in this. You guys know that's true, right? All right. Everybody's giving 2 thumbs up on that one, right? So at the end of the day, that's what we're trying to drive forward to. So with y'all's permission, I'd like to be able to come back here on the 26th. I'm working with a couple of the community members on putting that together as an initial draft of something we can look off of as like a springboard, to be able to say, let's come together with some initial thinking that we've had as part of like a small group, introduce that to the group at large, get some more feedback, and see if we can get close to an alignment or consensus of something that we can all feel great about, saying that's going to be valuable for us in the direction. Can also tell you that a part and parcel of being able to come up to this new understanding as a community is that I will start being in all of the weekly Wednesday meetings. I'll be teaching on the execution tools and the other tools in conjunction with everybody else. I'll be helping to bring in the guest speakers and personally looking at working with you guys about making sure that the guest speakers and other professional resources we have are going to be targeted and on point, and otherwise being able to do any of the other coaching that is needed there. So my personal attention will be very, very focused on this group and the quality of this group, and making sure that this is an A+ 5-star group that everybody is like, holy smokes, how in the world can I possibly get into it? Okay. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for your attendance today. I appreciate you allowing me to take this time to be able to get your valuable feedback and your participation and support for how can we get this to the next level. I'm always open for feedback. I'm always open for a phone call with anybody in here to be able to learn more about you, your situation, how you think you might be able to contribute to this community, about how be able to support me, Royal Legal Solutions, support each other. All of those things. If you're interested in being a person that wants to support the mission that we're on here together, you're somebody I want to talk to. You're somebody I want to partner with to figure out how can we work together to be able to create this environment that allows us to be able to get the oxygen mask on so we can go help other people and we can live the best lives that we know how to live. All right, guys, thank you so much. I'll see you guys here again on the 26th, and I'll have some work product done for you for your review and helpful comments. Take care, everyone.